Quick note real quick. Before I start, I will be having audience participation at the beginning of my intro. So you guys will be having to raise your hands, just a heads up. That's all. November 15th, 2015. 130 people died in Paris. How many of you know what I'm talking about? In that same year, a massacre perpetrated by Boko Haram kills 2,000 Nigerians. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Now, I have lots of family back home in Pakistan, as do many of my friends. One day, my friend Safa texted me in complete sadness. She told me about a mosque bombing in Pakistan where her relatives were present at the time. She was crying for the dead. She was scared for the safety of her relatives. And she was angry at the extremists who were responsible. Obviously, I wanted to find out more about what had happened, so I go ahead and I look it up. There was not a single article talking about what had happened. Not a single one. She was so emotionally affected, but according to the media, it didn't even happen. You know, she told me something later on. Unless you live there, nobody cares. How come the majority of articles done on attacks in the Middle East, Africa, and Pakistan are done with little to no depth or analysis, but something like the Boston Marathon bombing, a devastating but smaller attack in comparison to numerous other attacks in non-Western countries, still being discussed almost 3 years after it happened? Ladies and gentlemen, I have one main contention. Why is it that smaller attacks in Western countries receive heavier coverage than larger attacks in non-Western countries? Let's look at the statistics. An average of 12 people died in 21 attacks in the West. They received 7,800 articles per incident. On the other hand, in non-Western countries, an average of 22 people died per incident and received only 1,300 articles. That is 7 times less coverage overall per article on bigger fatality incidents in non-Western countries. That is 11 times less coverage per person. Do we understand the meaning of that statistic? That means the media cares 11 times less about a non-Western death than a Western one. Now, I was reading an article talking about how articles done on attacks in non-Western countries are done with little to no care or importance. It said that articles always make sure to put emphasis on the Western loss of life. I give examples such as 4 Britons and 3 others dead in Iraq, or 3 Americans and 4 others dead in Afghanistan. So obviously, I wanted to go ahead and find this out for myself. I went to a pretty reliable source, the BBC. This is what I saw on the first page in the Middle East section. There was no need for any extra searching whatsoever. To have to feel the need to put emphasis on the Western loss of life separately, to have to call other people negatively affected simply as others, completely supports my argument. Now, the article I was reading also talked about how there is a very simple and basic formula that every single one of these articles follows. The formula being the weapon, the location, the casualties, the group responsible, and the effects it had politically. Again, I wanted to go and find this out for myself. So I looked up the Pakistani Quetta attack, which killed 61 police cadets. And the orange is casualties, the yellow is the method of the weapon, the green is the group responsible, blue is the political repercussions, and purple or pink is the location. This is a big attack which killed 61 police cadets, people who were training to enforce justice and to prevent these kinds of attacks. These are people with lives, with dreams, with futures, with life experience unique to every single one of those 61 individuals. But the media didn't seem to care. We have to understand how detrimental this is to try to solve these conflicts. See, when a large group of people band together and voice their opinion, the government reacts. With in-depth articles talking about the struggle that so many face, the people gain a better understanding of these conflicts, and they gain empathy. With less in-depth articles, these people are not able to band together and voice their opinion. With overall less in-depth coverage of the suffering and the strife faced by so many abroad, we as a people send one clear message. We care less about you. And statistically speaking, that's true.